Okay, so what I want to do is take a minute and show you the kind of pH meter we're going to be using. This is a Vernier. You've used the Vernier LabQuest before. And the Vernier LabQuest, you can connect a lot of different probes to it. What we're connecting to it this time is a pH meter. And this is your pH meter right here. This is the probe itself. Okay? Now what is done, the pH probe is stored in this solution that keeps the tip that does all the measurements, if you will, or the testing. It keeps it working properly. Okay, it keeps it lubricated. It keeps it stored in the liquid. It keeps the little tip, the glass tip, where it senses things in a solution that has a pH of about 4, slightly higher than 4. But it's a salt that keeps it working effectively. Okay, a pH meter will eventually wear out. We want to try to make them work as long as possible. So this solution needs to stay in here. And the way this thing is designed is, when this thing is screwed down, it kind of stays in there and seals up. So what I want you to do when you're taking this loose, Philip, would you hand me the water, distilled water on that first lab table? Now I keep it in these are candle holders. All right, it keeps them tipping over because it's really easy to tip these over and make a mess. And what I want you to do is to keep it in those candle holders, keep it from tipping over. To take it out of the solution in which they're stored, you want to take and just kind of slightly loosen, but not unscrew completely, the cap. And that'll allow some air to flow and allow this to pull out a lot easier. Okay? Like that. Come on out. All right? All right. And then you want to leave this in here so it doesn't, in that holder there, so it doesn't tip over. Now, right now this is coated in a salt with a certain pH. We want to clean that off. So we're going to use distilled water. Okay? Every lab table's got deionized water, distilled water. And we're going to rinse that off really good. Okay? And then what you want to do is to calibrate. Now we're going to start by calibrating. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. But I want to start with a pH 4 buffer solution, okay? pH 4 buffer solution. So what I'm going to do is take the top off. And by putting it in this candle holder, it keeps from tipping over. I can just slide it right down in there. Now what I did was to rinse the tip of this pH meter off. Okay, then shake it off and then put it in here. Got it? And then what we're going to do is go over here to the LabQuest. Pull it around here so you can see it a little bit better. And we're going to calibrate. So each of these LabQuests are supposed to have a little probe in the end of it, and I don't happen to have the one. This is the one I borrowed from somebody. They don't have theirs in there. So I'm going to do it with the tip of a pen that's not actually functioning. What I want to do is go to Sensors, if it'll do it. There we go. And Calibrate. Can you see Calibrate on there? Maybe not, but it says Calibrate. And then pH, and it says pH 1, and that doesn't mean the pH is 1. It means the pH is in the channel 1 up here at the top. Okay. All right. So what we want to do then is to calibrate now. Where it says, let's see if you see that. It says Calibrate now right here. Okay. And then we're going to enter the value we want for this pH. Well, this pH is 4. So we're going to enter 4.00. Okay, and we're going to press Keep. All right, so it has that reading. So what happens is this probe is registering a certain voltage. Okay, and now it's corresponding that pH to that voltage. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take and rinse this off. Okay. Shake it off. And we're going to put it in the other pH solution. I need to put the top back on the first one, actually. Oop, I'm getting water on my computer. That's not good. Keep these things capped, okay? Don't leave them open, and don't let this pH probe get dry. If you leave it on a lab table, it gets contaminated. If you leave it out in the air, it gets dry, and we don't want it to get dry because then it won't work. Put it in the pH 7 solution, and they're color-coded. pH 4 is sort of that peach-looking or orange-looking, and pH 7 is a green-looking solution. And then we're going to let it settle down a minute or two. If you look at the voltage reading at the top, I'll move this up just a little bit. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. There's a voltage reading right here. If it's still moving around, give it a minute. And once it kind of settles down, it won't be perfect. It may go back and forth between 0.08 volts, a hundredth of a volt, and and 0.09 volts somewhere. It says 1.68 volts, and occasionally it'll say 1.69. That's okay. That's pretty settled down. So then we're going to put in, this is pH 7, so we're going to 7.00, and back up 1.00. Okay, and wait a minute. So then I got to go down to the bottom and press keep, and then I can press OK. All right, and it's showing that I have in the pH solution that has a pH of 7. Okay, all right. Once you've done that, then your pH meter has been calibrated, and you're ready to do pHs. Now, to be honest with you, these pH meters are pretty good, even if you didn't calibrate them. But the next lab we're going to do is going to be require some really good calibration. So I want to go ahead and let you practice with calibrations. And when you're not using your pH meter, make sure you keep it in their storage solution. Okay. And don't stir with the pH probe. Okay. Stir with a glass stirring rod. Got that? Don't stir with the pH meter. If you break that probe in the end, and it's easy to break it, okay, you pay for it. And it's expensive. Don't break the pH probe. Be gentle with it. Stir with a stirring rod or something, all right? So this is a really simple lab. Okay, it's not really all that complex. You're simply going to find out how much base it takes to neutralize a strong acid and a weak acid that have already been diluted so they have the same pH, right? And you made a prediction. Now you're going to see if your prediction is right. Now I'm going to let you self-select your lab groups, but we're not going to let, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No more than 3 people per lab table, okay? No more than 3 people per lab table. It's okay to have 2, not 1, 2 or 3. Got it? All right, let's get started. Yep.